Welcome to another episode of Biblical Wisdom for Today. Our focus for today is inspired by John 2 verse 9. Life often presents us with opportunities to demonstrate our faith through actions. Today, we'll explore the remarkable story of Jesus turning water into wine and how this miracle teaches us about selflessness and generosity. We'll also delve into the contrasting moment when Jesus refused to use his power for personal gain, offering us valuable lessons in humility and altruism.
Let's begin by reflecting on the first miracle performed by Jesus at a wedding in Cana. This event is recorded in John 2, verses 6 to 11. At the wedding, the hosts ran out of wine, a potentially embarrassing situation in their culture. Mary, the mother of Jesus, informed him of the predicament, and Jesus instructed the servants to fill 6 stone water jars with water. Miraculously, he transformed the water into wine, not just any wine, but the finest wine. This miracle wasn't just about providing wine. It was a profound act of kindness and generosity. Jesus' intervention saved the host from embarrassment and elevated the celebration. This act of generosity also revealed his divine nature and his willingness to use his power for the benefit of others. By performing this miracle, Jesus demonstrated his concern for the well-being and joy of those around him. He showed that true generosity involves going above and beyond to meet the needs of others, even in seemingly mundane situations. Now let's contrast this with another significant moment in Jesus' life, his temptation in the wilderness, as recorded in Matthew 4 verses 2 to 4. After fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, Jesus was hungry. The devil tempted him, suggesting that he turn stones into bread to satisfy his hunger. Despite his hunger, Jesus refused to use his divine power for personal gain. His response highlights a critical aspect of his character: humility and self-control. Jesus prioritized spiritual nourishment and obedience to God over physical satisfaction. This moment teaches us that true power lies not in self-serving actions, but in restraint and dedication to a higher purpose. Jesus' refusal to turn stones into bread emphasizes the importance of trusting in God's provision and focusing on our spiritual well-being. By resisting the devil's temptation, Jesus set an example of unwavering faith and commitment to God's will. He demonstrated that our actions should align with our spiritual values, even when faced with personal challenges. How can we apply these lessons in our daily lives? Jesus encouraged his followers to practice giving, as recorded in Luke 6 verse 38. This principle of generosity can be expressed in various ways. Consider inviting others for a simple meal accompanied by rich spiritual conversations, or spend time after a meeting to help a fellow believer, perhaps by listening to them practice their speech. What about assisting those in need in ministry? By giving generously of our material and spiritual resources, we reflect Jesus' example and show that we have learned from his teachings. Generosity isn't always about grand gestures. Often, it's the small, thoughtful acts that make the biggest impact. Jesus' life was a series of selfless acts, big and small, all aimed at helping others and spreading God's love. We can follow his example by being attentive to the needs of those around us and offering our support in whatever way we can. Practicing generosity can bring immense joy and fulfillment. When we give of ourselves, we not only help others but also enrich our own lives. Jesus taught that it is more blessed to give than to receive. This principle is as true today as it was in his time. In our busy lives, it can be easy to overlook opportunities for generosity. However, by making a conscious effort to be more giving, we can create a ripple effect of kindness and compassion. Whether it's offering a listening ear, sharing a meal, or providing support in ministry, every act of generosity counts. Consider the story of the Good Samaritan. Despite the cultural and social barriers, the Samaritan showed compassion and generosity to a stranger in need. This story highlights that true generosity transcends boundaries and is driven by love and empathy. By following Jesus' teachings and example, we can become beacons of light in a world that often seems dark and uncaring. Our acts of generosity can inspire others and spread the message of God's love far and wide. Jesus' life was a testament to the power of selflessness and generosity. From turning water into wine to feeding the 5,000, his actions were always aimed at helping others and glorifying God. By emulating his example, we can make a meaningful difference in the lives of those around us. One of the most profound ways we can honor Jesus' legacy is by being generous with our time, resources, and love. When we give freely and selflessly, we reflect his love and compassion. We become living examples of his teachings and help to spread his message of hope and kindness. Jesus taught us that generosity is not just about material wealth, but also about giving of ourselves. Whether it's offering a comforting word, lending a helping hand, or simply being there for someone in need, every act of kindness matters. In today's world, where many are focused on their own needs and desires, choosing to be generous can set us apart as followers of Christ. It can also bring us closer to God as we live out his command to love and serve others. As we conclude today's reflection, let's take a moment to think about how we can incorporate these lessons into our daily lives. Jesus' example of selflessness and generosity challenges us to look beyond our own needs and to actively seek ways to help and uplift others. How can you practice generosity this week? Perhaps it's by inviting someone for a meal, offering your time to a friend in need, or providing support in your community. Remember, even the smallest acts of kindness can have a profound impact. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. How have you been inspired to give generously? Share your stories and reflections in the comments below. Your insights can inspire and encourage others to follow Jesus' example of selfless love and generosity. Thank you for joining us today on Biblical Wisdom for Today. Don't forget to subscribe our channel. May God's guidance and love be with you as you strive to live out these principles in your daily life. Stay blessed and continue to seek his wisdom and direction.